Do you ever break up while you're sitting off there?
No, we're notorious for that and ruining sound taste.
He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't chase stars. Joel Coen just watches and waits. And when the right actor steps into frame, something clicks. It's never loud, but it's final.
Thank you, Scott Rudin, for bringing us this novel and giving us the opportunity to make the movie.
For over 4 decades, Joel Coen has built a world where the strange feels familiar, and the familiar becomes deeply strange. He's a director of precision, of rhythm, of restraint. But behind the myth of the Coens' deadpan universe, there's a quiet obsession. Finding the actor who understands their code, the one who gets the silences, the ones who can land a joke with a blink, the faces he returns to again and again, because they speak the language without needing translation. Joel doesn't build around noise, he builds around stillness. He doesn't want drama, he wants presence. Fargo, No Country for Old Men, Inside Llewyn Davis, The Big Lebowski. Every film is a clockwork machine, but right at the center there's a human pulse, a single performance holding the madness in place. Coen doesn't just cast actors, he finds keys.
Look at your heart! I'm praying to you!
Don't shoot my dumb ass.
And when someone fits the lock, the whole thing hums. It's like alchemy, too specific to fake, too strange to forget.
But is unbelievably angry, which we found to it's the way the character is written, and we found to be a very kind of amusing.
He's worked with dozens, but only a few stayed close. The ones who gave him control and got something even more powerful in return. Here are the 6 actors Joel Coen keeps closest, beyond fame, beyond the spotlight, and why no one else has ever replaced them. Number 1. Frances McDormand. Some actors perform. Frances McDormand disappears. She wasn't just Joel Coen's muse, she was there before the beginning. Blood Simple, 1984, their first film, his first lead, and long before any Oscars, she'd already become the Coens' emotional blueprint. McDormand once said, "There's a shorthand between us. We don't need to explain anything. That isn't romantic. It's professional, precise." She never needed to audition. Joel already knew how she thought, how she moved. He didn't cast her because she was his wife, he cast her because she was undeniable. Over decades, she's been at the heart of their wildest films. Fargo, Raising Arizona, Burn After Reading, The Man Who Wasn't There. But it was Fargo that redefined both their careers. Pregnant police chief Marge Gunderson, quirky, calm, terrifyingly competent, she won an Oscar. He barely gave direction. On set, Joel once told a crew member, "Fran doesn't need to be told where to look. She knows the whole shot." Their trust was unspoken. She didn't ask for backstory, he didn't offer fluff. Together they shaped characters that walked the line between real and absurd, flawed but never fake.
Hi, Norm.
In The Man Who Wasn't There, she delivered monologues with just a stare. Joel said watching her work was like watching someone knit in reverse, unraveling emotion one thread at a time. McDormand once joked, "Joel doesn't direct me, he just moves furniture out of my way. There's no ego between them, no competition, just rhythm, like jazz, tight, unpredictable, always in sync." Joel gave her complex, morally messy women. She gave him stillness that could hold chaos. No screaming, no drama, just a gaze that tells a novel. Some actors try to dominate the camera. Frances just absorbs it. She's not just one of his favorites. She's the one who taught him what favorite means. And he's never looked anywhere else since. Number 2. John Turturro. Joel Coen doesn't explain performances, but with John Turturro, he doesn't need to. From Miller's Crossing to Barton Fink, The Big Lebowski, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Turturro has been one of the Coens' most unpredictable instruments. Nervous, arrogant, broken, brilliant. Sometimes all at once. Turturro once said, "With Joel, The roles are never what they seem. You just have to jump off the cliff. He never auditioned in the traditional sense. When the Coens approached him for Miller's Crossing, they already knew. He wasn't playing a gangster, he was playing desperation in a trench coat. His "look in your heart" scene was so raw, Joel reportedly didn't say a word after the first take.
Look in your heart. I'm praying to you.
By Barton Fink, Joel wasn't directing, he was watching. Turturro had built the character in his bones, paranoid, passive, drowning in noise. He won Best Actor at Cannes. Joel never took credit. Joel once said, "John plays men unraveling, but he does it like they don't even know they're falling apart." Their relationship was never loud, no showbiz praise, no press tour bonding, just script, performance, silence. Turturro understood the Coens' tonal game, the absurd played straight, comedy buried in pain. He doesn't overplay, he leans in. In The Big Lebowski, he only appeared for 5 minutes, but Jesus Quintana became a cult legend. A bit part turned mythic, with rhythm, menace, and twisted charm. It wasn't screen time, it was screen gravity. Years later, Turturro reflected, "They write like musicians. You have to hit the rhythm or it breaks the whole scene. He's never been the Coen star, but he's something more precise. An actor who vanishes into the gears of their films and keeps them turning. Some actors light up the screen, Turturro haunts it, and Joel keeps calling him back, because no one else plays those shadows like he can." Number 3. Josh Brolin. Some actors chase a breakthrough. Josh Brolin walked right through it, and never looked back, but when the Coens cast him in No Country for Old Men, it wasn't a sure thing. He wasn't the studio's first choice, he wasn't even on the shortlist. But Brolin had something they couldn't ignore: stillness, strength, and a kind of restraint that didn't need to prove itself. Brolin once said, "The Coens didn't tell me what to do. They trusted me to not do anything." That kind of direction only works when there's real faith. Joel had never worked with Brolin before, but within days he knew. This wasn't a performance, it was a presence. He played Llewellyn Moss like a man trying to stay invisible, half prey, half predator. No grand speeches, no breakdowns, just pure survival instinct. The Coens let the silence speak, and Brolin filled it with weight. On set, Joel once said, "Josh listens harder than most actors speak, that's why his silences work." What followed wasn't just a career revival, it was a new chapter. After No Country, Brolin became a fixture in modern cinema. Milk, True Grit, but his bond with the Coens remained unique. In Hail Caesar, they cast him as a Hollywood fixer, a man juggling chaos with total control. Again, Brolin played it straight, even when the world around him spun into satire. That's the trick. In a Coen film, the actors can't wink, and Brolin never does. Reflecting on their collaboration, Brolin once said, "Joel never raises his voice, but when he laughs, you know you're getting it right. He doesn't dominate the frame, he holds it steady." And for Joel Coen, that quiet confidence, that ability to carry chaos without leaning into it, is what makes Josh Brolin unforgettable. Not flashy, not loud, just solid. And sometimes, that's the rarest thing you can be. Number 4. George Clooney. To most directors, George Clooney is a leading man. To Joel Coen, he's a walking contradiction. Their first collaboration was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? A dusty, eccentric odyssey where Clooney played a fast-talking, pomade-obsessed fugitive. It was absurd, it was brilliant, and it was the beginning of something very specific. Joel once said, "George plays stupid better than anyone we've ever worked with." But it wasn't an insult, it was insight. Clooney's comedic instincts were sharper than anyone expected. His charm, weaponized, his timing, surgical. Joel and Ethan knew they could hand him something bizarre, and he'd make it feel real.
Well, that right there may be the reason you've had difficulty finding gainful employment. You see, in the mart of competitive commerce...
You seek a great fortune.
In Intolerable Cruelty, Clooney played a ruthless divorce attorney undone by his own ego. In Burn After Reading, he was a nervous wreck with too much paranoia and not enough sense. And in Hail Caesar, He became a clueless Hollywood star trapped in a biblical epic. Joel kept giving him roles that chipped away at the Clooney persona. And Clooney leaned into the absurdity. Clooney once said, "The Coens love putting me in situations where I look like a fool. I don't mind, it's always worth it." What made their collaborations work wasn't just trust, it was fearlessness. Clooney never tried to play it cool. He let the Coens tear apart his screen image. That's why Joel kept bringing him back. They didn't make him cool, they made him weird, and it worked. Joel said, "There's a very small group of actors who don't need to protect themselves. George is one of them. He didn't need to control the frame. He let go, and that's where the magic happened." George Clooney wasn't just a good fit for Coen characters. He was a perfect foil. The handsome man with terrible judgment. The confident guy constantly in over his head. And Joel kept writing for him, because sometimes falling flat on your face is the best way to hit the mark. Number 5. Oscar Isaac. When Joel Coen cast Oscar Isaac in Inside Llewyn Davis, he wasn't looking for a star. He was looking for a question mark. At the time, Isaac wasn't a household name. He'd done solid work, Drive, Robin Hood, Body of Lies, but nothing that proved he could carry a film. Joel took the risk anyway. Or maybe it wasn't a risk at all. Coen later said, "Oscar has this ability to play someone lost without asking the audience to rescue him." In Inside Llewyn Davis, Isaac plays a broke, bitter folk singer wandering through 1960s New York with nothing but a guitar and a bad attitude. It's a performance that feels both raw and composed, like a musician hitting every wrong note perfectly.
There I made my stand. Went up on the mountain.
He didn't overplay the sadness. He didn't chase the laughs. Joel gave him a script that was intentionally uneven, moody, non-linear, and Isaac never blinked. He held it together without smoothing it out. Isaac said, "The Coens never told me what Llewyn wanted. That was the point. I had to carry the weight without knowing why." The entire film balances on that edge. Llewyn doesn't grow, he doesn't break, he just is. And yet somehow it's unforgettable. Critics praised Isaac's voice, his restraint, his timing. But what Joel saw was something more. Control. Not the flashy kind, but the kind that lets silence stretch without fear. Years later, Joel reflected, "There's something in Oscar's face that makes you lean forward. He doesn't push, he pulls you in." They haven't made another film together since, but Coen has said he'd gladly write him another 90 minutes of bad luck any time, because sometimes one performance is enough, one film, one shot, and when it lands that precisely, it doesn't need repeating. Oscar Isaac gave Joel Coen exactly what Llewyn Davis was missing: gravity. Number 6. Steve Buscemi. Joel Coen doesn't explain Steve Buscemi, he just keeps writing for him. Their first project together was Miller's Crossing. Buscemi had barely 45 seconds of screen time, but even in that blink, Joel saw something no one else did: presence, energy, a kind of nervous intensity that didn't need volume to cut through a scene. He's not the hero, he's not the villain, he's the wild variable, the one you can't predict. Coen once said, "Steve has a rhythm all his own. He always shows up on the offbeat, and that's exactly where we want him." From Barton Fink to Fargo, The Big Lebowski, and The Hudsucker Proxy, Buscemi became part of the Coens' emotional toolkit. Not because he stole scenes, but because he always understood when not to.
It's the IDS building, the big glass one, tallest skyscraper in the Midwest after the Sears in Chicago. Or
in Fargo, he played Carl, the motor-mouthed criminal who thinks he's running the plan. Joel barely gave him backstory, and Buscemi didn't ask. He made the chaos feel human, the awkwardness feel dangerous. All teeth, sweat, and silence. Buscemi once said, "With Joel, I never know if I'm supposed to be funny or terrifying." Usually both. It wasn't about screen time, it was about tone. Buscemi could shift gears without blinking. Comedy, dread, absurdity, sometimes all in the same scene. He was never the center of the Coen universe, but he was the magnetic pull around it. Joel later said, "Steve's characters don't take over the story. They make it wobble just enough to feel real, He's never headlined a Coen film, but he's been in more of them than almost anyone else. That's not coincidence, that's trust. Because some actors bring weight. Steve Buscemi brings friction. He's the loose wire in the machine, and Joel Coen never wants the machine to run too smooth. One glance, one twitch, one perfect mistake. That's why he keeps calling Buscemi back, because no one else glitches the system like he can. Joel Coen never chased the spotlight, he just stared into it long enough to see who didn't flinch. And those are the actors he kept, quietly, consistently, without saying much at all. Some performers win awards, but these 6, they earned something harder, trust, not with loud moments, but with timing, patience, stillness under pressure. And if you couldn't hold that silence with him, you didn't just lose the part, you lost the chance to come back. So who else do you think almost made Joel's personal list, or should have? Drop your pick in the comments, and if you want more deep cuts from behind the camera, hit that bell and stay in the loop for member-only breakdowns. Because in Joel Coen's world, it was never about who had the biggest presence on screen, it was about who left something behind after the scene was over.